In the world of theater, we rely on planning ahead. Selecting each season is a process years in the making. Before you take your seat in the theater to experience a show at Gulfshore Playhouse, there are months of visualizing, designing, and building each and every production. Our education programs require hundreds of hours of collaboration and creation before they are ever announced publicly. Our team spends months and months discussing, idealizing, and executing incredible events to celebrate your love of theater. This was our world for the past 16 years, a constant, joyful cycle of preparing and executing live, professional theater productions just for you. Right up until March 2020. But what do we do when the show cannot go on? As the world around us changed practically overnight, Gulfshore Playhouse was forced to change right along with it.
March 16th in my life will go down in infamy for sure. It was one of the hardest days of my life. 2 weeks to the day before that day, we had a very successful gala. We had a successful show on stage. We were in rehearsals for another one, and the future looked so bright. And 2 weeks later, on March 16th, I had to stand on a hill outside and lay off 3/4 of our staff. It was awful.
For nearly a year, we were unable to produce a professional show on our stage.
The news got worse and things continued to deteriorate, and it was brutal. My wife is a nurse and she happens to be working on the COVID floor at a hospital, so I have the unique perspective of trying to run an organization and keep an organization afloat and above water while also knowing what's going on in the hospitals.
But great art has always risen like a phoenix from the ashes. Throughout the crisis, your commitment to Gulfshore Playhouse shined a light on our darkest days.
Mr. Postman, look and see.
During lockdown, when many were searching for ways to connect and still enjoy theatrical experiences, your generosity allowed us to offer Artful Distancing, a free virtual program that brought you behind the curtain to learn about various facets of the theater. It was our true desire to produce theater, live and in person, in as safe a way as possible during this crisis. Thanks to your support, we created Higher, a brand new one-man show written and performed by Associate Artistic Director Jeffrey Binder.
We made a great decision to film it, to put it on film, to film it through SAG, so that we could present it to you in the midst of the pandemic. I mean, obviously, where we are right now in the arts, in the live arts, in the performing arts, is that there aren't a lot of opportunities to share our work with an audience. And so this was a fantastic opportunity to do so, and I'm forever grateful to have it. I'm so grateful that it turned out in a way that we're all proud, and I'm so grateful to be able to share it with all of you.
Thanks to you, we created exceptional and safe educational opportunities for our community's youth.
As a company, we had to do a lot of prep work before our students walked through our doors. And that included establishing protocols to keep our students and staff safe. And I'm very proud of the work that we've been able to do because our summer program was a success. No one got sick. Everybody remained safe, and we were able to produce a wonderful musical for the students who really their lives were just upended because of this pandemic.
Over the course of this season, Gulfshore Playhouse will have produced more full productions for our young artists than ever before.
Little Women and Ebenezer were our first student productions to be produced during our professional season. 2 shows at once was not easy, and our students are just so mature and so professional, and I'm so proud of everything that they've accomplished this year so far.
Your vital support allowed us to continue moving forward with our breathtaking Gulfshore Playhouse Cultural Campus. We completed our construction documents and finalized many details of what is going to be a crown jewel in our region. And we are quickly approaching groundbreaking on the new land.
We have this iconic look that is both modern, represents the area, and it will be something unique and yet appropriate for Naples. I just couldn't be more excited, and the design is so good, and the team has worked so hard in nailing down everything to the last door pole that I'm very excited for all of us in the community to be able to experience this great addition to Southwest Florida.
Thanks to you, even in this time of shutdowns and setbacks, we are still creating transformative artistic experiences. This January, we presented a live professional production, Love Letters by A.R. Gurney, with the blessing of Actors Equity, the National Actors Union. Gulfshore Playhouse was one of just 17 theaters in the country whose detailed and thorough safety plan was embraced by Actors Equity, allowing us to perform live theater on our stage for your enjoyment.
The opportunity to do it with Bill, but also to do it here at Gulfshore Playhouse, because we have been here a number of times together and individually, and we love working here. It's not just that we love having a job here, is that we believe in what Gulfshore Playhouse is doing and what Kristen Corey is doing, and how she believes in the power of theater.
Thank you for your passion for the arts, your commitment to Gulfshore Playhouse, and most of all, for your unwavering belief in the power of theater to change the world. Everything we're doing now will allow us to generate powerful theatrical offerings that are richer, deeper, and more impactful than ever before for you and the wider community. For the next year, the next decade, and all the years to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gulfshore Playhouse 2021-2022 season announcement. Please welcome to the stage the chairman of our board, Steve Aiken, and our CEO and producing artistic director, Kristen Corey.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We'd like to say welcome to all of you. We're delighted that you're here either in person or that we're streaming to you. We're very excited to bring you up to date on what's going on with Gulfshore Playhouse, and we're excited that you're here. I also want to say not only welcome, but thank you. So many of you have played a critical role in a particularly difficult year so that we can continue to move forward with all of our plans for the Gulfshore Playhouse and its contributions to Southwest Florida. So tonight we want to talk about several things. One, I'd like to give you a brief, and Kristen has reminded me a variety of times about brief update on the state of the Gulfshore Playhouse, so I won't go into every line item on the budget. Then we want to take you through where we are on the capital campaign, where we are on the theater, and then where are we on the new, exciting new season. So hopefully we have lots of good information to share. I would also add, if afterwards or at another time any of you have further questions or want to talk any more in detail about what we have going on, I'm delighted to do that Other board members and the staff are also delighted to do that. So let me start by telling a bit of a story, a true story, about what's happened during 2020, a very difficult year for all of us. And you can imagine what a difficult year it was for the Gulfshore Playhouse. We were moving along. We had just, in 2020 in March, we had just had our gala, which was an enormous success. We yielded the most amount of money we ever had in the past. We became more aware of it. Does that mean? And as a result, then all of a sudden, our philosophy was going to be the show must go on. But we couldn't do that because it became unsafe. So instead, we had to shut down on a Sunday night. Within the next week, Kristen and her team had to make dramatic cuts because if you run out of cash, you're out of business. To husband and preserve our cash, get our expenses online, and then think about what we were going to do to survive, succeed, and thrive as we moved forward. They did exactly that. They very painfully had to reduce the staff. We had a group called the G8, which was the senior team. They were wonderful. They took a pay cut as well of 25%. And they began planning day by day and week by week in a world which required iterative solutions, because one day you had one set of rules and you could do something, and the next day another set of rules. They literally were thinking about the artistic program on a weekly, monthly basis. Kristen led us and took us through a quarterly budget. There's no point in having a yearly budget if you don't know what's going to happen at all in 6 months or 9 months. So we went to a quarterly budget, and I'll tell you more about the outcome of that budget. We got far more knowledgeable. There was an advantage that we had having the COVID shutdown in that our entire senior team spent much more time they would have normally going through the new theater, all its designs right down to the last drawer pull or door pull and drawer pull. That means that we should have less change orders, which will help us stay right on budget or below budget as we do our building. They then worked and learned each other's roles as they went through and really built a team. And one of the ahas that was there for me, the board, and I think even for Kristen a bit, was we knew all along an organization like the theater is about the people. But it became very clear that the way you house the theater is enormously important, but it's the people. It's the people who run the theater, who support the theater. So that make the difference and are actually the theater. It's their values. It's their passion for the art. It's their experience. It's their breadth of knowledge to bring to us great seasons each year. And we saw how strong we were in that area, and we started to bring back people onto the staff so that we built up, and lo and behold, we had a student production in December. We had our first production in here in January with Love Letters, which I think we all thoroughly enjoyed in a very safe environment. And now we have the current play, Maytag Virgin. So, and whether you know it or not, when we did the play in January, we were one of only 17 theaters, Actors Equity, in the nation who was putting on a live play. Joel Marcus and his team did a remarkable job in working with the union, which has both an impact on the theater as well as the actors, to be able to continue to find out how we could go forward in a very safe way. But you're not a theater if you're not performing. And how do we get to performing? And right now, we're only one of 20 theaters who have a live performance. And with that, we're probably the only theater in America that's been approved for and has a live production going on right now. Pretty remarkable for Naples and for this leadership team. Yeah. So we've come through all of that. Let me give you a few very high-level numbers. We ended last June 30th, which is our fiscal year, with a surplus when we look at our earnings, expenses versus revenues, a slight surplus. And we have a surplus for the last 15 years cumulatively. We had no long-term debt. We did move very quickly to get short-term debt, lines of credit, as well as participate very effectively and fully in the government programs that were rolled out. We succeeded in all of that with lots of help from lots of people. And so we were able then to have the cash that we needed. We ended in June 30th with $1 million, actually $1.2 million in cash. Now, you're draining on that because you have no revenues coming in. But you, our audiences, were so gracious, both in terms of being donors, but also many of you took your season tickets and you contributed the amount, or in some cases want a refund, which we were fine to do. We wanted to do whatever you all felt was right. And then lastly, take us a credit for this year. That helped us a great deal too with our cash flow. And by the way, if you'd still like to if you have a credit coming, you'd like to turn it into a donation, we'll be glad to take that. We ended our half year on December 30th with a very positive net income, and we think we'll end June 30th ahead by about $60,000, and we will have a very good-sized cash balance. And we have some other monies coming in from new government programs that we think will enhance that. I don't want you to think that means we don't need money. We do. But it's been the board of directors who have been terrific. They all give to the annual campaign. They all have given to the capital campaign. In fact, 7 of our board members, 1/3, gave $1 million or more to this campaign, which says to me they've got their skin in the game, and they're showing the confidence they have in us going forward. We also have this tremendous staff, very talented people, brought on some new people. You'll meet Steve if you haven't met him later this evening. He is terrific. And we have a very good group of people who are very dedicated, who can produce world-class theater here in Naples that we hope someday will then come from here and go to Broadway or the West End or Chicago or other places. So we're very excited about all of that. On the capital campaign, we had to raise the first $10 million to match Patty and Jay Baker, who were so generous and visionaries in their leadership. We did that. But then COVID hit. It was a harder time to raise money, but not that hard. And I have you know, since Thanksgiving, we have raised $15.3 million more dollars. So we have $6 million to go to be able to break ground. And we have our bankers lined up, and we're in very good shape to get the bridge loan we need, and then we can move forward. And the city has moved forward, and they have approved the garage, the same that are on 8th Street, north and south of 5th Avenue, either 264 parking spaces or about 304. We think we may get the opportunity to help build that, which can save us all money because we'll get volume discounts on all the work that's being done. So the theater is a reality. People are behind it. We're still fundraising for it. We want to get that $6 million. We still have more after that, but that gets us to groundbreaking, and we can be on our way to a new theater complex and education center in the fall of 2023. So that's pretty exciting for something that's pretty far away. So with that, let me stop, say thank you again, and thank you all who are watching us. This is such an exciting time for Southwest Florida and such an exciting time for Gulfshore Playhouse. And one of the key drivers is our founder, who started this 17 years ago from nothing, who's brought it to this place today. Kristen.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Steve, for everything you do. Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you, for being here. I, too, am so grateful to the incredible Gulfshore Playhouse staff and the incredible board of directors. Like Mr. Aiken said, it was tough times a year ago at this time. And every single day that goes by with our staff back in place and our wonderful board who kept us going, I thank my lucky stars that we are here, that Gulfshore Playhouse is so blessed, and that we are in Naples, Florida, because really, where else would you want to be during a pandemic? So, and in fact, to your point, I mean, we're back on stage. This is our set. If you haven't seen it, we run through Saturday, and the seating is like this. We ask everybody to keep their mask on, so if you haven't seen it, by all means, pick up a ticket. It's a delightful show. Just the right play for the right time. So, but before, and I'm going to tell you a lot more when I come back at the end to announce the season, but right now I want to tell you a little bit about the building, and I want to talk to you out there in Cyberland. So thank you to all who are watching, whether you're here live in person or streaming it on the internet. So we here are now showing you a real picture. For years it's been, this is an artist concept, this is just an idea. This is actually, we spent all last summer working on our construction documents, 3 hours a day, 3 days a week. We were online on a Zoom with the architects, working out every little detail. So now I present to you the Baker Theater and Education Center. Thank you. Actually, I'm going to go back. This is the view that you see from Goodlette Frank Road. If you're coming south on Goodlette Frank Road, this is what you will see, more or less like almost across the street. So you see 25-foot high windows that will be a beacon of light as you're coming down south in the evening or at night, and all kinds of gardens in front and many places to play. So we're going to show you the west side of the building. This is the west side of the building, and you see here in front this grassy area. This is our 3rd acre of land as we bought it. The plan right now, and all of these machinations are happening, but we are in the process of actually swapping land because the Wynn family owns the land right here. So we're actually going to swap a little piece of land so that their land slides that way and our land goes behind, because we've offered to donate, and we're in the process of formalizing this as well with the City of Naples, our acre to the City of Naples to build a parking garage, like Mr. Aiken said. So now this frontage will be mixed-use building with a big restaurant out front and several administrative offices and other retail establishments as well. So that will mark, that building going there will mark the beginning of the redevelopment of First Avenue South. And that's no surprise to me, because I certainly know that theater buildings are natural catalysts to growth. So it's very exciting for somebody like me who started Gulfshore Playhouse out of my back bedroom, which happened to be in Bayfront. So I would stand on the balcony and look across the way and think, what is, this dilapidated, it was called Grand Central Station, which is kind of an irony back then. But what's it doing here? Why is it dilapidated on the gateway to downtown? So it's thrilling to see Naples Square starting to flourish, and Gulf Shore will be an incredible economic driver in downtown for many, many years to come, because it's not just the catalyst to growth with other vendors, restaurants, stores, whatever, lodging coming in. It's actually also the fact that by national average, people who go to a performing arts event spend between $50 and $60 a person on shopping, dining, lodging, parking, whatever it might be. And so we will have a budget at that time of about approximately $10 million annually, which we spend entirely in the community. And by the numbers that I just told you, $50 to $60 a person, by the what we're projecting to be our ticket sales, we will be responsible for another $10 million of impact going into downtown at that time. So we're very, very pleased by all the goings-on that are going down here, and we know that 5 years from now, you'll see a bustling whole area there where there are outdoor festivals and beautiful gardens to stroll in and art to see. So this is an example of the beautiful gardens. This is actually the Drobis seating area right there, and the Wilson Garden, and wait, go back, the Wilson Garden, and so we've got a grand stairway coming up, and beautiful flowering native trees, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just beautiful. As you ascend the stairs, you come to the Nagley Plaza, and this is a beautiful event space where people will be able to gather and enjoy not only before the show, at intermission, et cetera, but also for a private party, for if you're just strolling through, because our gardens and our lobby, which I'll show you in a moment, will be open all day long to tourists, to visitors, to children, to whoever might want to come through, to moms who just had a yoga class and want to meet for a coffee. So we're very excited. What our consultants told us at the beginning was that art buildings that are being built today, and this was prior to the pandemic, and now after the pandemic, we want even more to gather in person with people, is that art buildings are focusing on making engagement spaces as much as they're focused on making art. Because in Italy, you have the piazzas. In America, you have a theater building, because this is where people are now starting to, or other kind of cultural arts buildings where people are starting to gather. So there, in the back of the Nigli Plaza, there will actually be, on the next slide, a bar that's there all the time, so that, again, at intermission, before or after the show, or for special events, there will be the opportunity to turn this plaza into a wonderful part of the building. You know, this will be like our outdoor living room. So, but moving inside into the Aiken Grand Lobby, we see here a beautiful lobby that's made with terrazzo floors, antibacterial, antiviral, and touch-free doors that will allow you into the space. Again, this will be open throughout the day. As you see on the next slide, there'll be a coffee bar by day and a regular bar by night. This is called the Moran Midpoint. And this will be a place where people can get fancy little appetizers before the show, or stay afterwards and have dessert and coffee and meet the actors who might come out and have a drink. So we're hoping that this will be a social opportunity as well. As we move into the next, so you see that blue strip is the lobby. And off of the lobby, you see 3 spaces. Dead center is our main stage, 350 seats. So it's actually only a few rows deeper than this in the main orchestra, and above there are 3 rows that are stadium seating. So it's all very intimate, but it's designed just like a mini Broadway house. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. The third space on the bottom is a flexible studio space, and the main space at the top is fashioned to be a rehearsal room, a rehearsal hall. It's called Struthers Hall. It's also totally fitted out to be a beautiful event space with a catering kitchen behind, so that people could enjoy a small wedding, or a Rotary Club meeting, or another sorority alumni club meeting. You know, you never know what people might need, and I'll show you a picture of that as well. So we're going to move through the next ground plan very quickly, and we're going to go to the next picture. So this is the main stage theater, the stage that they're standing on. So you see, though, even though it's not much deeper than the North Center, you see it's set up just like, it reminds me of the theater where Hamilton plays, the Richard Rodgers Theater on Broadway. It's set up exactly like that, with boxes and a beautiful mezzanine, except the balcony section on Broadway is like way up here, and it's the nosebleed, and you can't see anything. In this case, it's hanging over rows 10, 11, and 12, and it's actually some of the best seats in the house. So you see the view from here. This is actually not a view from a seat, because there are no obstructed views in the new Gulfshore Playhouse. This is actually sort of standing in the aisle as you first come through the door upstairs. But to go back to stay on this for just a second, that stage is the size of a Broadway stage. So even though these 2 houses on stage here make this stage look actually pretty enormous, you only need to take 1 step off of any side of this set, and you're hitting a wall. So Mr. Aiken can attest to that, because we just came through the backstage. And so on this stage, it will be 40 feet of playing space with 20 feet wings on either side, a fly tower, and all kinds of acoustical, beautiful capabilities. We will not hear planes flying over. If we do Singing in the Rain, it will rain. You know, we're going to have a state-of-the-art theater for your enjoyment. And a new model lately is that Broadway producers are partnering with regional theaters, professional theaters in the regions. That's why they're called regional theaters. And so you might have heard of a play called Jersey Boys, for example, that was created in conjunction with a Broadway producer out at La Jolla Playhouse, eventually went to Broadway, won a Tony Award, or 2 or 5 or 12, and now is seen around the world. And that is part of what we anticipate happening here at Gulfshore Playhouse, is that we're creating new plays and musicals that will someday see the Broadway stage. Going further, this is our studio theater. So now this might look like a little space to you, but it's actually got a stage area bigger than this stage. So again, more space and more capabilities. This will be used not only for our education programs, for kids to be able to actually act on a professional stage as we're putting them through our pre-professional training programs, but it could be put into this It'll be totally changeable. So we can do it in this orientation. We can do it on three sides, like a thrust. We can do it in theater in the round. We could take all the seats out and have a party or a convention or a meeting or a small jazz concert or something like that too. So there's lots going on there as well. And then back to Struthers Hall. This is the, like I said, it will be our rehearsal hall, but it will also be, you see bright windows looking out over Goodlette Frank Road. Like I said, there's a catering kitchen behind. And it's also got blackout curtains and a space for 350 lights up above so that we can have a performance in this room as well. And it would be perfectly wonderful. So you can imagine our New Works Festival and things like that, readings happening in this room. Again, children's performances, all kinds of things. The possibilities are endless. So then as we move into upstairs, if you go up the Walter Escalier in the Aiken lobby, you get to the Founders Lounge. And this is a very private room that's for our sponsors of the show or contributors to the capital campaign or whatever it might be for that particular show, private bathrooms and private bartender, et cetera. It'll be a lovely space with a balcony that looks over the Gordon River and Baker Park. And as we go into the outside again, at the back of our building is the entrance to our education wing. So this building will be called a Theater and Education Center. And as far as I know, it's the only regional theater titled as such. But education has always been such an important part of our mission that we wanted to build a wing dedicated to not only the education of our youth, but of our adults as well. Lifelong learning we'll get into, as well as, we speak 106 languages in Collier County. So we're excited to expand into other areas that we can help serve as we move into East Naples and bring people in with free programming and scholarships and other such types of events. This is the student lounge as you come into the education wing. And this isn't only for students. There's a boardroom. There's a classroom with sprung floors, so this is safe for kids to dance on, and mirrored walls, et cetera. And also another rehearsal space, Herzog Hall. And just outside Herzog Hall is another roof terrace, so another place for events and parties and places for people to gather. So you can see we've got lots in store here at the new Gulfshore Playhouse Baker Theater and Education Center. And furthermore, what's very, very exciting, like Mr. Aiken said, is that we're going to break ground in the fall. We're planning our 23-24 season in this building. So you can only imagine, it feels exciting now because we're so excited to be back and we've not seen theater in a year and we've gone through this pandemic and we've emerged better and stronger than ever. But boy, oh boy, when we do our 22, when we're in spring of 23 and we're telling you the season that we're going to announce in the 23-24 season in the new theater, it's just going to be absolutely thrilling. So thank you for this. Thank you for paying attention to all of this. If you are interested in this, you can speak to any staff member afterwards if you're interested in getting invested in this in any way. We're also happy to tell you more if you're interested. So without further ado, I'm going to thank you again, Mr. Aiken, and we're going to welcome Joel Marcus, our amazing managing director, to the stage to tell you a little bit more about how the ticketing is going to work.
Good evening. Good evening. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joel Marcus. I'm the managing director at Gulfshore Playhouse. I'm so excited for our new season. Aren't you? This season was kind of rough. But even with the pandemic, we were able to produce theater this year. Love Letters, The Cabaret, and Maytag Virgin. How many of you have seen Maytag Virgin? A good amount. It's great. Those of you who didn't raise your hand, you should come see the show this week. It runs this week only. It closes this Saturday. We have 6 shows this week, and tickets are going fast. There's not a lot of seats left. So while you're here tonight, when you're leaving, get some tickets to Maytag Virgin. You can talk to somebody in the lobby, and they'll help you. And I'll recognize those people that are streaming. If you go to gulfshoreplayhouse.org, you can get your tickets there as well. But I'm going to talk to you about next season and ticketing. Stephen, our Director of Education, will be out here to talk about our education shows, and Kristen's going to come back out and talk to you about the shows. But I'm going to talk to you about buying tickets to it. Single tickets are going to go on sale in 2 weeks. But right now, for the next 2 weeks, from today through the next 2 weeks, you can buy Flex Passes. So you might be wondering what a Flex Pass is. We've reimagined how folks buy tickets. We've heard your feedback. We understand that buying subscriptions, having a certain night, a certain time, you don't know what your schedule is, you don't want to be locked down. We're making it easy. We wanted to make the most convenient, the most flexible, the easiest way to get tickets. So we're selling Flex Passes. They come in 6, 8, or 10 packages. So you can buy 6, 8, 10. If you want 12, you would buy 2 6s. If you want 14, you'd buy an 8 and a 6. These are just passes to turn in for certain shows. So let's say tonight you know all the dates and times. You can turn those tickets in, those passes in for those specific dates and times. But let's say you want to be more flexible and you don't know when you want to come see theater. You can turn them in whenever you're ready to turn them in. And you can use 1 ticket for this show, and you have 4 friends in town, you can use 4 tickets for this show. You can use all 10 for 1 show, or spread the 10 out, 2 per 5 productions. So you can use them however you want. We are doing 5 main stage shows next year, plus an add-on show. The add-on is actually on the beginning of the season, and we've already discounted that a lot. It's $40 to come see that show. So $40 for the first add-on show, and then the 5 shows after that that Kristen's going to talk to you about, those are where you would use your Flex Passes, okay? And you can use them however you want. So when you're ready tonight, at the end of Kristen's speech, when she tells you what shows we're doing, our staff, who's interspersed throughout the room, are going to hand out these brochures. The forms are on one side. The dates and times are on the other side. On the screen here, you can see in section 1, you're going to fill out how many Flex Passes you want. You can buy them in 6, 8, or 10. In section 2, you can do add-ons. So the first section is going to be that special add-on I told you about that's going to happen in October. And then under that, this is going to be the education shows that Steven's going to talk to you about. You can add on the education shows. And then you don't have to fill out section 3 with dates and times. If you know your dates and times, fill those out. As a matter of fact, don't fill out any of this. The most important thing to fill out is your contact information, because we can call you. We can help you through this. We can figure this out with you. But if you don't put all of your contact information in, we can't help you. So even if you fill out the top part with what you want, put your contact information down there anyway so that we can call you if there's any issues or we can help get you better seats. So the contact information is the most important part. We'll have pens that you can fill out in here. We'll have people in the lobby with computers that can process your payment now if you want, if that's convenient for you. If it's not convenient, fill out the form, give it to a staff member, and we'll call you at your convenience, and we'll do it with you over the phone, okay? So that's my spiel. If there's any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm really excited about next season. I want to thank all of you for your support. All the patrons for helping us through this past year have been amazing. And Gulfshore Playhouse has thrived and succeeded because of you. And I want to thank Gulfshore Playhouse staff also, who have done an excellent job, our board of directors, everyone involved. So thank you very much. And without further ado, I welcome Stephen Kalakos, our Director of Education. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel Marcus. Hello, welcome. Welcome, everyone at home. Welcome for tuning in tonight. My name is Stephen Kalakos. I am the Director of Education here at Gulfshore Playhouse. We have certainly had an exciting season this past year through this pandemic. Our education programs have thrived. We produced 4 musicals in this last year, beginning last summer with our Star Academy performance of The Addams Family. In December, we performed Little Women and Ebenezer Jr. back-to-back weekends, and we are ready to open up another musical, our 4th, Little Shop of Horrors, on May 14th. Right in front of you, you can see the program. I hope along with those Flex Passes that you buy tonight, you purchase those tickets to Little Shop of Horrors. But you will be amazed by our student actors. I watch them perform, and I forget that they're teenagers. They're so professional, and they will knock your socks off. So if you haven't seen a Star Academy performance, this next season is definitely the season to do it. But before I announce what's coming down the pike for us, for our education, I want to revisit some of our accomplishments that we've had this last season. In addition to what we have here on our stage, our Broadway boot camp was revamped, where we offer professional training for students of all ages in musical theater. We also have our Think Theater program, where we diligently have been writing curriculum to be a valuable resource for teachers and students in the schools, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about in a second. This coming season, the 2021-2022 season, will be the best yet for Gulfshore Playhouse education. Even as we speak, we are working closely with the Collier County Public School District, neighboring schools, even schools up in the Northeast. In fact, in the last few weeks, we have been teaching students from a district in New Jersey through our Think Theater program, and we only anticipate doing more of that virtually and in person this next season. It's really great stuff. Think Theater is our way of getting into the classroom, whether virtually, whether in person, and being a supplemental resource for teachers, for school administrators, and actually teaching the students standards in which they need to master by the end of their grade level. And we're doing that from the lens of a theater artist. It's really amazing stuff that we've been able to do this year, and we'll definitely capitalize next year. Our Broadway boot camp is coming back in November for adult tap dancers. So if we have any adult tappers out there or anybody tuning in from home, our Broadway boot camp is called Fly Me to the Moon, where you will learn choreography from a professional to some of Frank Sinatra's greatest hits. And we also have developed a brand new play based on a Holocaust survivor. This is in collaboration with the Holocaust Museum of Naples, written by Jeffrey Binder. The play is called Remember the Story of Abe Price, and this will be ready to tour Southwest Florida beginning in November. A lot of exciting stuff happening here with Gulfshore Playhouse Education, and now I would like to announce our Star Academy productions for the 2021-2022 season. In December, we're bringing to stage that little orphan that everybody loves. Annie will be performed on our stage December 16th through the 18th, just in time for the holiday season. And in the spring, Star Academy is back with a play based on a movie, based on a board game, Clue. So if you'd like to check out all the murderous mayhem that happens in Clue, check that out May 20th through the 22nd. I'm so happy that you are here. Thank you for your support. Thank you to everyone at home. I'd like to take this time to bring back our fearless producing artistic director, Kristen Corey.
Thank you, Stephen. Good job. Good job, everybody. Hello. Well, this is the moment you've been waiting for, right? So a little more backstory. Sorry. I can't get right to it, can I? Got to make it worth the price of admission. So anyway, okay. Wow. Dropped like a bomb. Here's the thing. So we mentioned Actors Equity Association. The fact is that the National Professional Actors Union has been, their solution to trying to get back to work in a pandemic has been do not work. You know, very vociferously, they have believed that the only way to keep actors safe is to keep them at home, shut down. But I disagree. For a variety of reasons. First of all, actors' health insurance through the union is actually tied to how many weeks they work in a year. So you stop actors from working, and you've also taken their health insurance away in the middle of a pandemic. Furthermore, actors aren't going to really just sit in their house closed down. They're going to try to find work as construction workers or restaurateurs, waiters, or stocking groceries in a grocery store. So they're not necessarily being kept safe at all, or certainly not safer than they would be here. Our actors are tested 3 times a week. We have extraordinarily thick protocols in place in terms of how they're interacted with during the rehearsal period, et cetera, et cetera. This is why we have been able to get able to get approval, one of only 20 theaters in the country since last March. This isn't like right now. This is only 20 theaters have been approved since last March, a year ago. So it's just absolutely extraordinary. We're actually very lucky to be in this building where the HVAC system was replaced just right before the pandemic occurred. So everything worked in our favor, including an incredible partnership with Naples Community Hospital. It's important for me to say that because we have put such an onus on them, showing up sometimes 17, 18 people in a day to get tested for COVID every 3 days, every 2 days, three times a week. So it's been an extraordinary burden on them, but they've been wonderful partners, and we're really, really grateful, because actually without that one thing, without being able to get frequent testing for everyone involved, we really would not have been able to put a show on our stage. So with that in mind, the obvious thing would have been, if you're really thinking about it, we really canceled our whole 2021 season. So the obvious thing would have been just pick up the 2021 season and put it down in 21-22, right? Not so much, because we had such a hard time getting through. Many of you might be aware, in the fall, Jeffrey Binder, our former associate artistic director, wrote a one-man show, because as we were sitting there last summer wondering what in the heck to do with ourselves, we thought, let's write a one-man show, because surely a one-man show will get approval, perfectly safe. What could be safer than one man alone on stage? And Equity said no. So we filmed it. Some people watched it. I'm grateful for that. But we never got to put it on stage. So that really showed us, though, that Equity is not really predictable, and we don't know what they're going to say yes to. So instead of doing Lion in Winter, which we had to cancel, we were right in the middle of rehearsals when the pandemic struck. We thought 7 people kissing and hugging, maybe not so much. So we're going to put that aside for another year. We thought, well, we could do Bang Bang by John Cleese. Well, a sex farce with people running around, sweating, bloomers off, bloomers on, who knows? We don't want to do that either. Well, we'll do Pinup Girls. Oh, people singing. I don't know if you've seen this, but Equity is saying, for Broadway, as it starts to come back, no 2 people are allowed to sing on stage together unless they have a plexiglass sheet in between them, and they're all faced out. Nobody can even look at each other and sing. I mean, it's astounding. So we're like, well, not Pinup Girls. And so the list goes on and on. Midsummer Night's Dream, well, we can adapt it. So it's only 8 people on stage, but 8 sweaty people changing costumes in front of your eyes. Like, it's just, none of it seemed like it was a safe bet to do in coming out of the pandemic. Not so much because we're actually worried about, by then, I think the majority of people will be vaccinated, and, we'll have achieved herd immunity, hopefully by 6 months from now. But it's about the union and the unpredictability of the union. So what we really elected to do was to stick with smaller plays, talkier plays for the most part, because we wanted to be able to continue to ensure safety and kind of hedge our bets in terms of getting approval by the Actors Union. One more thing I want to say is, in case you didn't notice, we went through a cultural revolution in our country in the last 12 months as well. So we, as a theater company, also hear the call to want to be sure that we are playing our part in getting more equity and diversity on stage. And so we're excited to do that as well. And what I'm really interested in, somebody made a comment lately that just warmed my heart. They said, Gulfshore Playhouse always pushes the envelope, but they never alienate their audience. And I thought, oh, thank goodness, because I think that that's a real trend right now in the theater across the nation, is that there is this kind of like, come watch this and I'm going to prove to you what a terrible person you are kind of theater that's been going on. And I'm not interested in proving that people are terrible people. I'm interested in theater that heals. And I'm interested in theater that you can look at. And even if it includes people that might be different than you, or look different than you, or practice their religion differently than you, or eat different foods than you, that you can look at them and say, I get them. They're like me in this way, in this way, in this way. And that's the way we heal the world. So I am now, even if you ever thought that I was passionate about theater, live theater before, just give me a year of pandemic and inability to produce live theater, and boy, oh boy, you better watch out, because I'm recommitted to my belief that live theater is the most important thing. I know even after 6 months when we were locked in our houses, when we finally came back into the office again, even with masks on, even 6 feet away from each other, all of the stuff, we were following all the protocols. It was just like the ability to be able to look to people, look at each other in the eye, was so heartwarming to do that again. To be able to put our kids on stage, even with masks on, clear masks, so you could see their smiling faces, but masks nevertheless, it was just heartwarming. And even now, these 2 people interacting with each other, married, that's the way we got through Equity, was to do a 2-person play with a married couple in it. But to watch them and their chemistry and their interaction and have actually two people in the room performing for you. There's nothing like it. You know, they're doing studies that show that when people come to see a piece of theater together, their heartbeats start to synchronize. They weren't talking about that during the pandemic. They were just like, run for the hills, stay away from each other. But I'm so grateful now for this new turn, and we're back to our healthy selves, and we're going to be able to have our heartbeats in sync again. So without further ado, let me tell you about our upcoming season. So the first thing that we're going to be doing, this is the add-on that Joel was talking about. We are bringing back the cabaret series. Now, there's two reasons for this. First of all, because we actually believe in people singing, and it's one person at a time, so it's relatively safe. The other thing is, I mean, hopefully perfectly safe. But the other thing is that cabaret shows are not under the auspices of Actors Equity Association. So we can get great, amazing equity actors, Broadway stars, to come down and sing these cabaret shows for us. So it's like a New York supper club, and you come down and they're singing directly to you, and they're telling you their stories with the amazing John McDaniel, Grammy and Emmy Award-winning John McDaniel, playing again. So it'll be 3 new ones. If you came to our cabaret shows this spring, it will be 3 different Broadway stars. We don't even know who yet, but we're going to do that in October. Again, hedging our bets. The longer we can go without having to worry about an equity approval, the closer we are to getting equity approval. So we're doing everything we can to just keep putting stuff on stage, because the most important covenant that I have from the day that I started this theater was the covenant that I have with you, our audience. And if anything burst me at the seams this year, it was that we couldn't serve our mission, and we couldn't serve you. So we're doing everything we can. We're thinking through all of these scenarios and making sure we can continue to serve you. So first up is the return of our Broadway series. And then the first actual play of the season will actually be our first August Wilson play. Now this one's called Radio Golf. Now, of course, you know Tony Award winner, Pulitzer Prize winner, August Wilson. This is part of his, Audrey, tell me the phrase again. The American Century Cycle. This is the 10th play in the American Century Cycle, and was done on Broadway several years ago, and absolutely wonderful, won a Tony Award. And not only that, but again, to go back to bridging the gap. This is, so I'm not just interested in doing a play because of putting diversity on stage. I'm interested in bridging the gap. I want plays that make you say, I understand this whole situation better, and I understand the relevance to my life through seeing people of a different culture, of a different race, of a different religion, whatever it might be. And in this case, if any of you know anything about this play, well, this is a mayoral candidate right in the middle of just about on the verge of a groundbreaking of a major development. And I thought, I'm looking at that and I'm like, well, that's about the time for us to do that, right about when we'll be groundbreaking ourselves. So it's city politics. If any of you are following what's going on with the Naples Beach Hotel, you know, it's all actually very, very relevant to what's going on right here in Naples, Florida. So I think that you will be, and you know, they talk a lot about golf, so that doesn't hurt either in Naples, Florida. So you're going to be in for a treat with this Radio Golf. Also, fascinatingly enough, it's 5 people. So this is actually going to be the largest play of our year. But it's a very talky play. So they're not hugging and kissing. They're actually like standing and talking. And it's like, okay, if worse comes to worse, so we have to stand them 6 feet apart, we can do that. So this is going to be a great, great play, and I hope you'll all come and see it. Next up is Higher. So we're finally going to get to do it for real. So for those of you who didn't get to see it, or did see it, even if you ordered the streaming version, please come see it in person, because it's 1,000 times better. If you thought what Jeff did on film was amazing, come see him live, because the talent of that guy is just astounding. And the story, the history, the geography, and talk about understanding ourselves better as a result of coming to see this play that was written in the middle of a pandemic and is somewhat autobiographical and is absolutely also fantastical and historical, is a real treat. So I hope you come see it. So Jeff and I will pair up again and do this play for real in January. After that, the 39 Steps. Now, come on, we had to do a comedy, and we had to do one title that you've heard of before. So, well, I guess August Wilson counts too. I'm sure many of you have heard of that one. But 39 Steps is a play that when I saw it on Broadway, I said, if we can ever do that at Gulfshore Playhouse, we will have arrived. So I guess we've arrived. And I'm excited to try my hand. Harriet Heithouse, who's not here, but she's the arts writer for the Naples Daily News, called me about an hour ago. And she was like, and you're directing the comedy. And I said, well, yeah, I can do that too, you know. And so I'm excited to try my hand at it. If everything works out exactly as I hope, Ian and Karen Peaks will come back, who are starring right now in Maytag Version, will come back and do 39 Steps. So I'm excited about that too. Great Alfred Hitchcock, whodunit, lots of hilarity. You know, we do Funny February. That's what we do here. So 39 Steps, super excited about that, but only 4 people. And next after that, The Invisible Hand. We've done Ayad Akhtar before. Some of you may remember him. He's a Pakistani writer, incredible playwright. We did a play of his in spring of 2016 called The Who and the What. And I remember so many people coming out to me. This was about a Muslim family and the dealing with whether or not the daughter was as devout in her religion as the father wanted her to be. And it was an immigrant story too. This was a Pakistani family that had moved to America. And so many people came out afterwards and said to me, this could be my family. You know, substitute Catholicism, substitute Protestantism, substitute Jewish family, you know, whatever it was, they were like, I see myself in this. And this is the kind of play he writes. Now, in this case, this is a little different. An American guy has been taken hostage by some Pakistani terrorists in Pakistan, and he now endeavors to manipulate the financial system in such a way that might be morally and ethically questionable, but it harbors him in a lot of money, and whether or not he can do this and pull it off and get out of this hostage situation is, well, I'm not going to give the rest away, but it's a fascinating play that, again, I think will be very relevant to many of the people that are in our audience even right now. So come see The Invisible Hand. Fantastic. That's March 26th through April 16th. And we're going to close the season with a play that we should be actually doing right about now. This is called Another Revolution, 1968, and times they are a-changin'. This is 2 people in a college campus, and they're forced to work in a science lab together. One is a physicist and one is a botanist, and plants are growing and things are happening. But it's 1968, so all kinds of stuff, right? Vietnam and Martin Luther King Jr., the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., Robert Kennedy. They find that there is a lot that divides them, and yet somehow through all of that challenge, they find ultimately that there's a lot that connects them as well. And they work through these challenges. And it's a fascinating sort of trip down memory lane for those of you who remember 1968. And also another riveting piece. So I hope that you're excited about the season for next year. I hope that you will come join us for every single one of these. These flex passes are pretty cool. You're going to get to be able to decide, oh, I don't want to go see that one, but I'll use all 4 tickets for the next one after that and bring some friends. So we're trying to make it as flexible as possible for you, and we're looking forward to seeing you at the theater. So thank you so much. Our staff will be waiting. If you want to sign up tonight, we're waiting for you to do that. And thank you so much for being here.